Hey guys, Matty, it's the Broken Supercoach checking in Monday morning. Um, just I saw the teams last night, saw the scores last night, but I knew I was in for a big score again this week. When Oliver went off and I had the C on him, I think I was already at 2,600 or something. So I knew that this was going to be a pretty big week again, which is really good for us. Really good for us. Long Johnson's fans. So 13th for the round. That's huge. There were some big scores, so I think I was about 50 off the top. Um, and the guy had basically on Tuesday, I went through what I'd prefer of my team, and the guy had basically that. So it was Mills instead of, I think it was Mills instead of Cripps, maybe. And I think he had a better defender instead of Short. He might have ran with Short, maybe. Maybe it was a forward. I had a better ruckman, maybe. I can't remember. Either way. Oh yeah, he had two weird rucks. Riley O'Brien, which I assume is who he went to for probably Luke Jackson, and with some cash in hand. And then he had a defender, I can't remember. But doesn't matter. 13th, we'll take that. That shot us up another 3,000 ranks. We're back in some real numbers here. So 2,253. These are the ranks we're used to seeing, so that's good. Like we said, it's a marathon, not a race. At the start of the year, when we were looking at this number and it was 20 to 30,000, there's a lot of chat, but we're back. We're back in business, and even this number is this is about where the lowest I wanted to finish. So we'll see if we can crack in. It's going to be a lot harder to crack in with people coming full premium and people not having Tom Stewart. So what I'm hoping for now is that we just hold this rank, hold around here for the next 3 weeks. Hopefully everyone's having a lot of struggles with guys like not knowing who to put in the ruck, with not being able to get Darcy Cameron, just because he's too risky to grab. We're going to hope that Libber is a really nice pod for us, and we hope the Steele is really nice as well. And then when Stewart comes back, we're going to hope that Dacos keeps doing what he's doing, and then we're going to hope that Stewart starts to rip up as well. So we're in a pretty decent position, if I'm being honest here. So let's go to the team and we'll work out how did I get the 13th highest score of the round. And this is how we did it. So Dawson absolutely went wild. As you saw, this guy's been immaculate in the last all year. The one regret I have is that I didn't start him. I didn't trust. I mean, when did I bring him in? Around here-ish. The one regret is that, I didn't start him over, say, a Ridley, who I traded out, or even a Crisp. I think I should have started Dawson in hindsight. But that's all right. It's one trade, and it's been worth it the whole time. This is the best defender, and he'll be a defender next year. So next year, you'll be starting him as defense, probably D1 next year. Sicily. What a steal this guy is. Anyone who got him at 448 looks like a genius now. Just amazing scoring. It's good. This guy, Sinclair, is absolutely insane. 150. Off a pretty weak score last week, they tagged him, just showing that if you don't tag Sinclair, he's going to absolutely demolish you. So, but a lot of teams don't tag, and does he get tagged very often coming up? He will in the final round. Might against Fremantle. And that's probably it. So he probably doesn't get a lot more attention. So he has probably a pretty decent run coming up. We love that. Hewitt was slow though. A little bit worried about Hewitt's score. He hasn't shown that 110 ceiling for a couple of weeks now, whether he's carrying something, whether the balance of Cripps, Hewitt, and Walsh and Cher in the team sort of hurt him a little bit. I'm not sure. Nonetheless, nobody's trading Hewitt out. He's in 57% of teams, so it doesn't matter. And this kid, mate, Nick Dacos, hand this man the rising star for one. And two, what a bench cover for Tom Stewart. It's almost a blessing that Tom Stewart went out, because to see 143 on the bench would have actually been really upsetting. Like, I don't know what I would have done there. Um, when Stewart comes back, I probably start Dacos over Short, assuming Dacos keeps up this 90 to 100 scoring. Look at these last 4 weeks. This is when people started trading him out, by the way. You see that he starts going down in teams. 62. So he dropped to 59. Oh, we've been trading him out since. People have been slowly trading him out for a long time. Realistically, most good players are trading him out in round 9. You know, he went 8% down. He started dropping some average scores, so people started to panic. You got to understand, when you look at 49, 49, 45, 44, there's probably 30 to 40% of people who have given up playing the game. You know, a lot of teams get started and don't actually play. So this guy would have been in a lot of teams early on. So this number's highly inflated because he's a popular player. So, you know, people are leaking this guy and he is ripping up. So if I'm being real now, as long as he can keep that scoring up, he starts over Short for me, who I can't afford to trade. It's not worth trading a 480 player. There's nobody there. All we'll do is we'll just keep playing him. We're going to loop, excuse me, we're going to loop Stewart when we can. Can't this week, but when we can, we're going to loop Short and Ware. And when Stewart comes back, they're the final 6, believe it or not. And Short, we're just going to bench unless he starts playing good footy again. So, you know, the final team ends up looking like this. But, you know, Tom Stewart obviously isn't playing. And, yeah, I see, and I'm not going to, if I could loop Ware, I would, but I'm not going to trust that Ware gets 90 every game. That's his best score of his year, so we're not going to trust that. Short is a better scorer than Ware. And this is the big one. So, Clary 176, Laird 130, Petrarca 189, Miller 150. We just got so many good scores. Neil 135, big scores. You know, Petrarca, who's a 1 in 3 team guy. We're pretty happy with that. I think, 50%. I think everyone captained Oliver. Oh, I captained Oliver, by the way. That's just for this week. I captained Oliver. I advised McRae. Now, the reason I advised McRae and not Neil is because I knew Neil would score 120 to 130. Well, I didn't think 130, but I knew he'd score 110 to 120. And it's a lot harder to pass up that type of score than it is for a McRae who might score 150. Otherwise, they're going to lose and they're going to score, and he's going to score 100 to 110. And that's an easy pass because I knew Oliver, who averages probably 180 against the Crows. He averages 130, which is actually insane when you really think about it, because you take into account scores when they were rookies, you take into account half games. This is an insane average for a team. It's his best team. Loves playing against the Crows. Has scored 2 200s against the Crows, and now 176. Insane. To talk about, not to rave on about Oliver, but Oliver is currently $711,000 with a break even of 95. So we're talking about a bloke who will go up in price this week, despite being over 700k. He might get to 720, 730, and then you'll think he'll start going down. But geez, if he cracks 750, that's about the highest I've ever seen anyone. I think back in the day, in Dream Team pricing was a little different, but maybe back in the day we saw some 750 players, and you know, nowadays Dream Team you do see 800k players, pretty common. Not common, but you do see 800k players every now and then. But I just don't think it's possible to get to 800k in Supercoach. Just too hard. Well, I mean, it's possible, but yeah, in realistic terms. So yeah, Laird, great. You know, love all these guys. Cripps, obviously disappointing. I'd rather this be Walsh. But it is what it is. It's a decent midfield. Steele's only thrown out, hundreds, which I'm okay with. 115 and 107 since coming back. I'm actually okay with that because you've got to remember that it was Steele and Libba or Walsh and Jackson. So Jackson obviously injured, and I ended up absolutely winning out despite Walsh being the better player. I would like to get Walsh for Cripps, but it's a 100k increase now. I can't do it. So whatever. That's the midfield. Not a lot of cover here. Soligo looks very good. But if one of these was to go down, probably have to trade him. You can't afford to play Soligo like I can Dacos. The other option would be to not bring in a mid. and bring in a defender and put Dacos here. But I think the best call is if there is an injury to go down, I just hope that it's not Cripps or Petrarca or Steele or someone like that. It needs to be one of these 6, and I can just do an easy trade over because I don't have a lot of cash. So, we'd look at Merritt or someone like that. Right, so it's funny because I was probably right about Witts when I traded him out at 400k in round 4 to get Tim English. Tim English was a disgraceful pick, obviously, but I did say that towards the end of the year, this guy is going to struggle big time. And lo and behold, he is starting to struggle big time. Yeah, he's got a 150 there, so maybe that's not. Maybe I'm overreacting here, but 260s in the last couple of weeks. A full season is tough for a bloke just solo rucking, and the fear I have now is that if he looks sore, can they afford to rest him against some of these teams? With Teagle on the bench, can Gold Coast, who are competing for the 8, if they start, can they rest one in the thought that he might play finals? So do they manage him against, say, West Coast at home or Hawthorn? Do they manage him in one of these games? And that would be a disaster for us. So just remember I've said that. I think they could easily manage him here. Really nice block. He plays 3 more games, gets the rest against a game they should win, West Coast at home, and then 3 more games, and then a break, and then finals if they make finals. So, yeah, I'm concerned about that. Very concerned about that. Darcy Cameron, I love this kid. Just going to keep hovering at 540 for us. Collingwood fans would be absolutely wrapped with this bloke. Honestly, he looks better than Grundy the way he plays. He looks way better than Grundy. I mean, he's not as good a ruckman, but around the ground, he's extremely versatile. I think they're in seriously good hands with Darcy Cameron. That's crazy that they've got Cameron, Dacos. They've got a bunch of other young guys, Ginnivan, guys like that. They're in a really nice place, Collingwood. North this week. North do have a good ruckman. He should play well against them. Did he play him in his little spell here? No, he hasn't played him yet. So, plays North. Hopefully gets a big score. Loving this. Grundy is back soon, though. So, like we said, Grundy's back around 18, 19. We've got to keep an eye on that game. And we'll do whatever we need to do. Probably trade him out. If the most obvious call is if Grundy is out, if Grundy is back in, and Cameron loses the role completely and he starts scoring 30s and 40s, and then Grundy is on, and Grundy's scoring hundreds, then we just trade Cameron to Grundy. You assume that they'll be a similar price, I hope. Let's press it just in case. Who knows where he is, actually. I don't even know how would I find him easily. I'll just have to search him, I guess. Grundy, 544. So it's an easy side trade. What's his break even? Yeah, and he won't break even in his first game. And if he does, then you got to get to him immediately. So, yeah, we'd be pretty happy with that if we could just go back to Grundy when Cameron comes in round 20. So it's later and later every time it comes up. So we're not hugely fussed if that could stretch out, 20, 22, that could stretch out, and it could just be that we just trade him for fun in our last game. And then the forward line. So again, Libba's been amazing. Without Bailey Smith, he's obviously benefiting a fair bit. That's not going to load for us, but whatever. He's obviously benefiting a fair bit from Bailey Smith being out, but he's still a good scorer with him in, so I'm not too fussed here. Got ourselves, Parker on 98, slowed down a little bit, but that's okay. Brody's looking good as well. Obviously, no effect with Fife in the team. Yeah, and then we got Bont and Cog. So that's the team at the moment. Let me just refresh this because it looks like it's just classic Supercoach going for us. So give me a tick. All right, so we're back there. So that's good. So yeah, and that's the forward line. Not a lot to talk about there. So obviously my team's a little unique because of Darcy Cameron. So there was a lot of a lot of stress about, what to do with Luke Jackson. Who do you trade him to? I think you should have just. Truth is, I don't think Luke Jackson was the right call anyway. If you're going Gorn, despite him scoring 120, I just don't think he was the right call. You would have wanted to bring in a super premium. English is back this week, so if you can get English in, maybe. I don't trust English anymore. He goes on the list with Mills, Parrish, and Sean Darcy. I think you're going to want to try to get Riley O'Brien. You're going to want to try to get just any big ruck, really. It seems weird. Yeah, Darcy. It seems weird that we're just picking any old rucks nowadays, but that's the nature of the game. Darcy Cameron ends up being quite good. I think I'll probably try to get Grundy towards the end of the year with 3 trades to go. I'll also try to get a better mid defender, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, that's the plan. We're just going to, again, sit around. A lot of people getting Bailey Daly, and I respect that. Yeah, there's another defender that I probably would try to get a hold of. But he burned me last year. Just remember that. And he's the one that probably benefits the least from when Smith comes back, in fact. So, not really. He's always looked nice, hasn't he? Yeah, nice. You shouldn't need any rookies now. You probably are full premium, but if you've got any questions, throw them in the channel. Throw them in the chat. I don't really have a lot to talk about here. We're just looking at the team. The only other thing I'd say is that, yeah, this team is looking good. There are some other changes I'd like to make. Obviously, I want one more defender here other than Short. That's a shame. But some of these holds have paid out. Like we've held Petrarca. We probably would have traded Petrarca if we had the spare trades to do it. Probably would have traded him around here, which I guess a lot of people just held and got rewarded. So not a lot of people were sending Petrarca, which is lucky for them. Gets 189. Cripps I probably would have liked to trade. We could have made 100k off of him quite easy. And he just hasn't looked that good. But he's still, look, 120 here. We'll see how he goes. We're sort of forced in with him. I don't think it's the end of the world to have him in the team. And the forward line's looking great. I really don't think there's many other options. So what I'll do quickly is we'll have a look through rucks, because we're going to need a target one. So Tim English is the number 1 ruck, and he's back this week. Whether you trust him or not, I don't know. Durability, I don't think I like him. But if you can, you can. Oh, the other one, yeah, sorry. The other one I want to talk about is Aaron Hall. Jeez, he's stiff if you got done there. I actually think Hall was a really nice in. Injured with 13 points. Unlucky. Yeah, bring in what everyone else is doing. If you don't have Sicily, Dale, Dawson, Sinclair, bring in one of those. Geez, that's really stiff, though. I feel for you if you brought in Aaron Hall, because I thought he was good. And like I said, I would have done Short to Hall if I had the traits. So I would have been right there with you. So unlucky. Yeah, ruck-wise, yeah, we're probably waiting on Grundy. If you can bring Riley O'Brien into it. Yeah, Witts is still, he's not doing well, but still a big name in there. I just think, don't expect much scoring from the rucks. Do you bring Nick Nat in? No. No is the definitive answer. Yeah, I don't really like a lot of these guys, honestly. I just think, don't expect many from your rucks. I'm just going to stick with Witts and Darcy Cameron. And if Cameron really bombs out when Grundy comes back towards the end of the year, then we're going to go with Grundy. So, all right, guys, that'll do. Really happy with the week. Here's hoping we can crack the top 1,000. That would be an absolute miracle. And what a comeback that would be. Thanks, guys.